Well, my dear friends, welcome back. I'm glad you're here for this latest episode. And today I'm going to be sharing my conversation with Ty Erickson, the owner of Private Label Chocolate. Ty is an entrepreneur. He's had different businesses in the past, and this is his latest business. He's been doing this for 5+ years. He's also a sales and marketing person with a lot of stories to tell and a lot of strategies and tactics that he could probably, fill a whole book with. But today we're going to talk about his business, Private Label Chocolate, how people can use chocolate to make their brand stand out. Their tagline is "Be Memorable." And so basically you can brand his chocolate with your own company brand and hand it out at trade shows to get past gatekeepers and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great way to make yourself stand out in a sea of competition. And so we'll talk about that, but we'll also spend a little bit of time today talking about AI. Ty is a great user of AI. He uses it every day. He's got some great tips, tricks that he uses it for. He even uses it for coaching his kids football and baseball and basketball. So that was a little interesting discovery for me that he's using it that way. But anyway, so let's dive into this conversation. I think you will enjoy it. He's a very energetic fellow. I've always enjoyed my conversation with Ty. And so he'll share some tips, tricks. He'll also share some ideas. I think after listening to this episode, you'll get some maybe interesting thoughts. And also in my show notes, I share with you how to get a hold of Ty and how to connect with him and all that kind of stuff. So with that, let's get started with Ty Erickson. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kinide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. Well, Ty, thanks for making time for me, man. I know the first time we tried to do this, I bombed out. I mean, you'd think that I would be technically better than what happened last. I appreciate you sparing another, 30, 40 minutes of your life here.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do it. I mean, we all live in the ever-evolving tech world, so I think everybody understands how that goes.
Yeah. And considering the type of business you're in, I want to thank you especially because December's got to be a busy month for you, man. You're sending chocolate out, man.
Yeah, so we do half of our business in 2 months, which is pretty crazy. But I will say every year we've gotten better, more efficient, also utilizing technology as much as we can. And so each year has gotten milder and milder as far as intensity. But the business has continued to grow. So that's always a really good feeling. And this year has been very relaxed compared to previous years, but we're going to have a record year. So,
really?
So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You're having a record year, but it's still more relaxed. Interesting.
Yep. We've just gotten better at what we do. Every year we've looked at it and we said, hey, what can we do? What can we do better? Quality of life is a big deal for us. Obviously being in a seasonal business, you can lose quality of life pretty quick in busy times. So we're just always, as soon as that season ends, we're always looking at the next year saying, hey, what could we have done better? So we've incorporated a little bit more machinery, made some of our compliance and stuff better, how we transition different variations of our product and stuff like that. So yeah, it's every year it's gotten better, and that's been super satisfying to see just what we've been able to accomplish on that front.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool. So you said 2 months. Is December one of your months that's really super busy? Which one's the other?
It can be. So here's what's super interesting about what we do is the economy has a direct reflection on it. So when the economy's down, which we've seen, right, in the last 4 years, we've had some challenging years. People will wait until the last minute. So normally I really start marketing, getting people prepared for the holidays and their holiday gifting and whatever else they're going to do with the chocolate in August. And so a lot of our bigger clients, they're on top of it July, August, they're getting it going. They want it early, ready to go because it takes time to get out, right? Like if you're going to get chocolate or a gift or whatever, you got to have time to get it to them. And a lot of people don't consider that. And so,
well, it's Thanksgiving. I got to send chocolate to my gifts,
right.
My clients.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And it is at that point, it's a panic. If it's not too late, it's a panic. So, we really try to get started in August, but in down years or where the economy's been challenging, I think a lot of people hesitate on like, what's my budget? What am I going to do? Maybe I'm going to hold back this year. And then when the time comes and they start seeing people gifting and marketing and doing different stuff, they're like, oh no, we should have done something. And so then the orders start bleeding into December, which this year they have. And we kind of expected that because of the down economy. And we've seen that's been consistent through COVID, through, all the different challenges. It definitely, the economy affects everybody, but it definitely affects us in the rate that we get the orders and the time that we get them based on the holiday season. So,
okay. That makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about, your business. And we've already started doing that, but how did you end up in the private label chocolate business, man? By the way, your chocolate's great. I've had a few of them.
Thank you.
I'm at a table and I see your chocolate and there's somebody not there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab that chocolate.
Yep. And that's the question that I get most. People are like, how the heck do you get into the chocolate business? To make a long story short, I'm involved in family business. I'm partnered with my father-in-law in the chocolate business, and how it came about was probably, I'm dating myself here, and I don't know if this is going to be exact, but I'm guessing like 15 years ago, he had the opportunity to kind of transcend two different retail chocolate brands through another family member. And so he bought those brands and ran them for 10 years, and they were retail based. And I think over that 10 years, the brands grew, the larger they got, you got to deal with a lot of capital investment. There's margins, there's all that stuff. And so again, just making a long story short, after 10 years, he decided to move on from the retail side. But during that time, during that 10 years, organically, we had utilized the chocolate for his finance business to go out and market clients. And what we did was we pretty much said, hey, you send financing to our finance business and we'll send you free chocolate with your logo on it, branded for you. And it was just an added service and a very unique thing that people loved and an added bonus. And so we did that. And when he decided to move on from the retail side of the chocolate business, we also contacted the clients of the finance company and we said, hey, we're no longer doing the chocolate. And we had some people that got upset. Like they were like, I'm using you because of that. I'm utilizing this chocolate. I'm now known for this chocolate. People are expecting this chocolate. And so it got a little bit uncomfortable. We're like, oh no, like we did not expect this. And so we're like, what are we going to do? And so the plan was, hey, let's take one of each piece of equipment and let's just keep making it for our clients until we can just figure out what to do. And so that's what we did. And we moved into a smaller space, a much smaller space, and we just kept making it for the clients. And then we knew right away, we weren't going to be able to sustain the business. We reincorporated as private label chocolate, but there was no way to pay the bills just based on, giving it to our clients through the finance company. So that's when I got involved and I came in, and I'm a sales, marketing, and branding guy. So I came in and I'm like, I can do business to business. That's in my background. And so I came in and we just started talking, networking, digital marketing, sales, sharing the chocolate, sharing ways to utilize it, ways that we've utilized it to grow our own business. And it's just kind of grown from there. So we've gone from, we probably started out with a few hundred different businesses, mainly insurance agencies that we were doing it for, because that's what our finance company serviced. And then, we've grown into professional sports. We've grown into pawn shops, like the weirdest things you can think of, from a roofer to a cleaner to painters, all the way to, Fortune 500 companies. And so, that's been one.
Cool, because you do business with somebody and, they might have had a really good experience with you, but if you leave them a chocolate at the end of that transaction or that engagement or that handshake, it's just so cool. Everybody loves chocolate, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of has that memorable, I can see where your tagline "Be Memorable" comes from, because now you have the full experience, but you also have the taste experience, right? You taste that chocolate and you associate it with your brand. So I can see why your clients there, or at least his clients there, were a little disappointed when he said he was not doing it anymore.
Yeah. And then a big part of it is educating people how to use it. It's one thing, somebody could come in and buy 10,000 chocolates, but if they're not utilizing it, then we saw a lot of like, well, my employees ate it all and I spent all this money, and, everybody loves the chocolate, but it got eaten and it didn't help us grow our business. And I'm like, yeah, we can't have that. Like, people aren't going to reorder if that happens. Yeah. And so we've really spent time on how do you use it to get past gatekeepers? How do you use it at trade shows? What's the proper way to gift, without breaking the bank? How do you use it for drop buys? How do you use it at networking events, speaking events, stuff like that?
So how do you guys use it for your own business? Like I'm assuming you're using it for your own business too, right?
Yeah. So the chocolate really sells itself. When we decided to do this as private label chocolate, and even before that, the recipe is a quality recipe. Like it's based around a quality chocolate. There's no skimping, and that was part of the challenge in the retail days. Is it's kind of really, when you're going into a storefront, the margins are so small. It's kind of like, how can you use the cheapest ingredients to make the best tasting chocolate or best experience? Yeah. And so on the flip side with private label, it's all about it's quality first. I mean, our clients, they want quality. They're putting their brand on it. They want, when somebody eats that chocolate, to say, wow, this is some of the best chocolate I've had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, switching
gears a little bit, Ty. Switching gears a little bit. What are some of the more effective strategies for your company? I know you do networking. I don't know what else you do. I mean, I know you're always, you're always at networking events and you're really great at talking to people. But how do you market your business?
Yeah, so done a lot of networking to get it off the ground. A lot of face to face, because it's an experiential product. People can eat it, experience, and say, wow, this is great. I mean, that was what was so interesting to me, is when I first got involved, it's not like you can pick up the phone or even drop by if you didn't have the chocolate and be like, hey, how do you feel about customized chocolate? People would be like, what are you talking about? But when they eat it and they see it, they go, oh, I get exactly what this does. It's an experience of the brand. And so the way that we've done it is we started really through networking. And I'll be honest, I kind of got to a point where I was over networked. I was spending more time, meeting with people than I was working on the business, and I had to find a balance.
And especially now, giving away chocolate, I'm sure everybody wants to hang time.
Yeah, everybody wants to come to the factory, right? Everybody wants to tour the factory, which is awesome. I mean, that's really been instrumental in us building our business. But we've really found a smooth spot right now with a balance of networking and a balance of digital marketing. We're still a small outfit, so I've had to do all of our digital stuff myself. But we've also found a way to market through digital marketing by providing value to the businesses on how to use the chocolate and other ways.
What kind of digital marketing has worked for you guys?
Yeah, so our podcast has actually been great. And I won't say it's in a traditional sense, right? Like, we're not trying to increase listenership. If it increases, like, we love that. That's obvious. Yeah. But it's a way for us to get in front of our clients. I mean, I've even found that I can put together a 15-minute podcast with a way to be memorable and shoot it out in the morning when people are driving into work and say, hey, listen to this on your way into work to learn how to do this, this, and this. So a podcast has been one. Social media has been huge for us.
And you're only doing audio podcasts, right? You're not doing video podcast?
Yeah, not doing video. I mean, I don't want anybody to yell at me for this, but I've kind of felt like it kind of fulfills a sense, right? Like it fulfills a hearing sense. Like I feel like our chocolate fulfills the taste sense, and it's an experiential thing as well. I don't know why. I've kind of been all about the audio. I'm kind of like, I want to focus on captivating somebody on the audio side.
I know I'm made for radio, but I thought maybe you were made for TV, man.
Yeah. And we do a lot of videos. So like we do video creation. So I kind of feel like it creates different segments. I don't know why. And maybe I'm wrong there, but like, I just feel like it creates different ways to captivate people. I feel like
I have learned that I've been exploring is because this podcast is only audio, and I'm transitioning potentially in 2024 to do video. One of the things about audio podcast is there really isn't an audio podcast search engine like Google or YouTube, and it's really hard to be discovered. So if you do a video podcast and put it on YouTube, I know YouTube now has a podcast section specifically designed for podcasts that are being uploaded. So it makes it more discoverable because obviously YouTube is a powerful search engine. So I think for being discovered, it could work really well. So if you have to do video, I'd love to be your first guest.
Yeah, no, I will. And we'll get there. I mean, it's a matter of, we're a small shop, right? So like I'm doing all of our sales marketing, and that's my thing anyways. That's like a passion of mine. And so I love doing it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a matter of, where do we put marketing dollars? Where do we put marketing sales?
So do you guys do email marketing? Do you guys do anything else besides, do you guys do email marketing? How does that work?
A ton.
How do you guys get the email addresses? What are some of the techniques or things that have worked for you guys?
Yeah, good question. So our website is a big one, right? So we drive traffic into our website through LinkedIn and Instagram mainly. And the way we do that is by providing value on ways to become more memorable, drive into our website. And then from there, I've got a free PDF on there of my top ways to be memorable. Just a free thing that we do, hey, give us your email and we'll share with you our top ways to be more memorable. So we do it that way. And then we also just get, general contacts through the website. So we drive a lot through there and landing pages to bring in followers. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, you also have an affiliate program. I think
yes,
you were telling me about that once when we talked.
Yep. So we have an affiliate program, which is actually really effective. I have to admit, I haven't spent as much time as I could on it. But we do have a good affiliate team of businesses that go out and promote, and we get a decent amount of orders from that. Yeah, we do fairly well. I mean, it's not massive, but it's definitely worth the time. We are getting traction from that. And then, going back to just on digital. So we're LinkedIn, Instagram are like the two biggest things. And then going back to your question on the email marketing, we do a lot of email marketing. Hopefully our clients don't say we do too much email marketing. But it's really, when we're doing our email marketing, it's sharing ways to utilize the chocolate. And I think I already said this.
You're providing techniques. You're not just spamming people for the sake of spamming, right?
Not at all.
Said on Viagra. That's not what you're doing.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. So
yep. And that's mainly what we're doing. And we're sharing stuff on video. We're sharing stuff, through podcasts, through audio, and then we're sharing written content. And LinkedIn has been another thing.
How are you using AI?
Oh man,
some of the LinkedIn stuff, the images you posted, I think were you've been very creative about using AI with that, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably a novice compared to some people out there, but I utilize AI every day, all day long. And I love it. It is going to become such an instrumental tool. And we could have a whole nother conversation on that. But I reference AI on everything. I reference it on my marketing, on my sales scripting, on my, and again, it's not that I just copy and paste, but I will utilize it just to spark and inspire myself to get different ideas. I also use it, and this is non-business, but I use it to structure practices. I use it to structure game plans. I use it to structure and even look at stats on my kids' youth sports.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It'll structure, you can put in what you're looking to accomplish in a practice, and it'll format a practice for you.
Like it's like your baseball practice or your football practice. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I use it. Yep. I use it across the board. I have probably 20 different chats that I have set up through ChatGPT, and I reference them. I'm teaching it constantly. I'm teaching it from books that I'm reading. I'm teaching it concepts that I like and dislike. And it'll give me references from that, so I can always go back and reference back to it. And then I've started to use Dolly. Dolly is, you can tell it still needs some work. I don't like the text side of it, of text, not tech, but text with a T. They haven't really caught that up yet. It kind of puts a lot of jargon and stuff in there that I don't love. But if you can spend time with it and educate it on what you're looking to do and kind of the modality that you like on a marketing side and what you're looking to develop, you can tune it in to do what you want, and even evoke emotion, which is cool when you're creating graphics.
Does the paid version of ChatGPT also include DALL-E, or is that an extra cost?
It does. So the ChatGPT 4 version has all the plugins.
Oh, it does.
And I heard ChatGPT 5's coming quick. So I don't know what that's going to look like or what it's got. But I do know right now the new ChatGPT you can utilize all the plugins on it.
Interesting. Have you tried Canva's AI image generation tool? I've played with that. I have played with that more than DALL-E.
I have messed around with that. I have found that DALL-E is a little bit easier to use. Now, if I was a graphic designer, by all means, I think Canva is probably, way beyond. I just haven't had time to spend and go deep enough. But I've heard it's superior based on what I can see. It's superior right now. But DALL-E's doing a lot. I don't know if it's DALL-E or DALL-E, how they pronounce it, but it's
DALL-E. I think the E is backwards, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And I'm learning to utilize it, and it's been great just for the basic functionality that I'm using it for. And I'm just learning more and more, how to talk to it, as odd as that sounds to everybody in the world right now. But I spent a lot of time educating the AI.
Yeah. What are some advice that you would give? A lot of our listeners are small business owners, obviously, folks that maybe are even buying your own chocolate. What are some, maybe for 2024, 3 or 4 things that come right off the top of your head that businesses really should be looking out for as we head into the new year?
Yeah, I'm seeing everything's coming full circle. I feel like everybody's got to utilize all their different avenues to get in front of people, and not only get in front of people, but remind them and be memorable. Because I know that I've spent, my whole career, there were so many times where I would sell harder than anybody and market harder than anybody and be in front of everybody. And then when it would come time for somebody to utilize the business that I was in, they would forget, and they'd be like, "Oh man, I totally forgot. I should have sent you that deal." And I'm going, "Wow, you got to be kidding me." And so, you've got to, it's frustrating. And so my whole thing is find ways to captivate the senses, different ways to captivate the senses and create experiences for people, because their mind will remember that. What they won't remember is if you're doing the same thing as everybody else. You're sending out, you're stuck in one way. You're only sending emails, or you're only making phone calls, or you're only making visits, or you've got all these ways. You've got face-to-face, you've got email, you've got phone call, you've got social media, you've got podcasts, you've got all these ways. Like, switch it up and utilize all the different senses. The other thing is, it's a shameless plug for us, but it's like, how often are you tasting someone's brand? And that's where we're teaching people, like, they may not remember your name and your business's name, say at a trade show, and they meet 200 people, but they will remember an experience. They'll remember that really good chocolate. You could call up and say, "Look, I'm so-and-so." And they go, "I don't know. I met 200 people last week. I'm the guy that gave you the chocolate."
How about this psychology, Ty? I don't know if you thought about this. I do this at trade shows, where if I do get a piece of chocolate, I'm not going to litter, right? So I'm going to put that label in my pocket, right? Yep. And then I'm going to get back to my hotel room. And when I'm emptying out my pocket, I'm going to bring that out and I go, "Oh, these guys, that was a good tasting chocolate." And then just look at that packaging for a little bit and say, "Oh, you know what? These guys got," so, there's that lasting, instead of the squeaky ball or that, whatever it is, or a coaster, or the clips that you get, that you get chocolate and you have your name on it. It's such a powerful experience. So what are some challenges businesses face? Why do they not, think this way? What are some, I think people are just so engrossed in what they're doing that they don't see outside the box, do you think? Or
yeah, they get caught up in their ways, right? And a lot of people just don't know what else to do. They're doing the best with what they've got. I see that a lot. And so it's just about creating that awareness. And I feel like that's where we've been able to provide a lot of value, because we're creating an awareness of ways. Say like somebody keeps on getting caught at the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
No one turns down chocolate. So if you go back and you set up a nice bowl on their front desk and continue to go back and put in either seasonal chocolate, like a Happy Valley, and replace the chocolate in there, or put in your own logo, you always have a reason to stop by, and nobody's going to be like, oh no, please don't, bring
Don't bring me
the chocolate. Now you look at it and you go, why isn't everybody doing that? They're not thinking about it, right? They're sitting there going, send another email, post again on social media. They're just maybe not aware of all the ways to not only be in front of their clients, but captivate their clients and be in their mind when it comes time to do their business. Because ultimately, that's all that matters. If they don't use you, you can do everything in the world and be the greatest sales guy. If they're not using you when it comes time to doing business with your industry, it's all for naught.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So switching gears a little bit here, Ty.
Yep.
I know we're bumping up against our time, but
Yep.
what are ways that people can get a hold of you? Your website, I'll put it in the show notes for sure. But tell me again your website and then your LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. How they can get a hold of you.
Privatelabelchocolate.net is the website. I know that's unorthodox, but we've always, for some reason with our businesses, we've kind of fallen on the .net thing.
Oh, really?
And nowadays, I mean, you could probably correct me on this. I mean, nowadays, if you're providing easy ways to get to your website, like they're clicking on a link anyways, we use a lot of QR code stuff. So that's one way. Social media, we're at Private Label Chocolate. You can find us we're again, mainly active on LinkedIn, and Instagram is where you'll see most of our valid content. Okay. And then when you're on LinkedIn, sign up for our newsletter. That's been a big thing that we're pushing out a lot of content there, which is integrated with our blog. So those are really the easiest ways to get a hold of us is social media and our website.
Okay. And I enjoy your LinkedIn posts. I know you've got some.
Thank you.
Just kind of putting a plug out for you guys. I do think you provide a lot of value in your LinkedIn posts, because there's been some times where I've read the post. I said, oh man, I got to do this, or that makes total sense. I totally forgot about that. So you do add quite a bit of value in your LinkedIn. So people that want to follow you, or you're not just pushing out junk, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And I also like some of your personal posts too, which I think sometimes I've always been a little hesitant putting personal stuff on Facebook or LinkedIn. Well, Facebook's a different story, but on LinkedIn. But the way you've done it is very interesting, because you use your coaching, because you coach your boys. Is it all boys? You have all boys, right?
Yeah, just 2 boys. Yep.
2 boys. Okay, got it. And how old are they again?
14 and 10.
Okay. So you're coaching them basketball, football, or whatever you're coaching them, and you'll take some of those and put them as a business, it might be cliche sounding, but it's not. Yeah. It's actually pretty well done. So I've enjoyed that too, because it adds a personal dimension to you. Yeah. Shows you, because people do business with people, right? I mean, if all you're doing is putting out, generic stuff on social media, they don't know who you really are.
Correct.
When you follow Ty and you follow you and you get to know you a little bit, you get to know your personal side and stuff like that. So, okay, what's a good podcast to listen to, and what's a good book to read, or great movie to watch this holiday season?
That's a great question. So my go-to book always, and this is a life-changing book. If you're going to read one book in your life, in my opinion, this is the one that you read that will probably capture 100 different books. It's called Beyond Positive Thinking by Dr. Robert Anthony.
Okay, Beyond Positive Thinking. Okay.
Yep. Now you can only get it in paperback, so this isn't an Audible deal. He does have it on a website where you can listen to the Audible version, but it's like on his website.
Okay.
You can't buy it through Audible. But I recommend get the paperback version. You will literally, and I know you can do it digitally too, because I read a lot of books digitally, but you'll be highlighting the whole book. So yeah, it's one of those where I have 2 different versions. I have one that I read back in my 20s, and then I have a new version. It's an easy read. It's a book that you'll have a hard time putting down. You could read it in 3 days if you really just get that addicted to it. Okay. So that would be that one. I also, if it's okay, I'll share another book on a personal side. It's called Real Love by Dr. Greg Baer, Baer. That one is also a life-changing book that's relationship-based and learning how to be an unconditional loving person in business, in personal, in everything. It's a life-changing book, I promise you, if you pick it up and read it.
Okay.
So
That's kind of cool. So one final question, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
oh man, that I would say no.
I got you by surprise there.
To me, I'm saying no because it hasn't been a Christmas movie for me. My Christmas movies are Home Alone. Like I can't turn it off when that comes on, and Christmas Vacation. Like those are two must-haves every
Chevy
holiday
Chase,
season.
is that the Christmas Vacation? Is that
Chevy Chase? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I know that
Old school there, man. You're going back to the 80s there, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm an 80s kid. So that's, yeah, when Thanksgiving comes to an end, I find Christmas Vacation, whether I record it or if I, and Home Alone, and I make sure I get those in first and foremost because it just gets me in that sentimental holiday mood, nostalgia.
Well, Home Alone, I've seen that. My kids have seen it many times. Christmas Vacation, only National Lampoon, the Summer Vacation is the one that I saw, the Chevy Chase when he goes on a vacation with his family.
No, please tell me you've seen Christmas Vacation.
I have not seen Christmas Vacation, so I gotta go see Christmas Vacation.
And I'm not talking just Christmas movie. You're talking like all-time great. Like it's not just an all-time great Christmas movie. It's one of the funniest movies.
So Chevy Chase, I'm a big fan of Chevy Chase. He's great. I just saw sad news. He's in a wheelchair for some reason and fell off his wheelchair this week. I saw that in the news this past week.
I didn't know that, but yeah, he was looking pretty rough. It seems like he's had some health issues
or 81
recently.
or something like that.
Isn't that crazy? And in that movie, I think that was in the late 80s. So I don't know if that was maybe he would have been in his 40s.
Yeah, probably.
Which is
late 40s.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. So time goes by fast, man.
It does.
Time going by fast. I think we're towards the end here of our podcast.
Awesome.
So, Ty, thank you so much. I just kept my fingers crossed that there's no technical errors on this one.
Yeah.
And we can wrap this up. And so I just want to thank you. And it was a great conversation. And I'll just tell people.
Yeah, likewise.
Drop things on the show notes on how to get a hold of you. So thank you, Ty.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate
Christmas.
All right. Yeah, we'll do. You too.
If you're a small business owner, a marketer in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. You'll become better educated and informed when it comes to digital marketing. And if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discuss in this podcast, your business will grow and prosper. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. You can also search for Corner Your Market in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast, and you can subscribe through those apps. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review. Finally, I would love to hear from you, so if you have any questions, feedback, or general comments about the topics I discuss, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.